We continue the kickoff to Week 4 of the Simulation Football League live from Vultures Field, where the always tough Tulsa Desperados have traveled to take on the unbeaten Baltimore Vultures. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Baltimore. Alongside producer extraordinaire Cameron Irvine, our statisticians Dwayne Schindler and Justin Reside, and my partner Aaron Alexander, I'm Tim Hackett. You're watching the Simulation Football League live on Twitch. Happy to have you with us. The Season 15 champs are the favorites today, Aaron, but you get the sense that this could be a big opportunity for both sides.
Absolutely. Both Baltimore and Tulsa have played incredibly well so far this season. Baltimore, of course, being 3-0. Tulsa only being 1-2, but being pretty much in every single game that they've played so far this season. Despite the favored matchup here for Baltimore, I definitely think it's not going to be as easy a game as the numbers are calling it.
I think it's really a big opportunity for both sides, Aaron, because Baltimore's the favorite teams, league champs 2 seasons ago, as we just said. They're 3-0, one of 5 teams in the league to be perfect through 3 weeks. So they're the top dogs in this game for sure. But for Tulsa, this would be a massive opportunity for a statement win for a team, like you said, that has been in more or less all 3 of their games so far.
Absolutely. Definitely going to be an interesting matchup throughout, especially if Tulsa and their offense can keep up with this high-powered Baltimore offense.
The Baltimore offense that is first in the league in points and in points per game, better than 42 points per game on average through the first 3 weeks of the season, and they will get the ball to start off here this afternoon. First road game of the season for the Desperados. JT Delaney kicks it away, and we are underway. The second game of Week 4 of Season 17 of the Simulation Football League. 2 of the best return men in modern SFL history on display here this afternoon. You get a look at Giovanni Bolt, who had one of the best defensive games in Baltimore franchise history last week against St. Louis. More on that as we go along. Our first look at the Baltimore offense, and now third-year quarterback Jack Wigmore, who is off to a stellar start, and the rookie running back Jimmy Hazard, who ran into a couple of hazards of his own last week as Baltimore was able to fend off St. Louis. First pass attempt of the game for Wigmore. He'll toss it off this way, and a couple of Desperados are right there to make the stop immediately. Cameron Shaw on the tackle. Jimmy Hazard, the running back, on the catch, for a gain of 3. And Aaron, he had 3 catches and just 1 rush attempt last week against St. Louis before he left with an injury, was not able to return. It's great to see him back out there here in Week 4.
Yeah, absolutely. The rookie from Newport News, Virginia, actually really close to where I am. Unfortunate that he left that game last week with an injury, but as you said, good to see him back and producing here early for Baltimore.
Cornerback on running back there, Nate Heslep covering T-Roy Gaines, and that was the big storyline for the Vultures this offseason. Very few changes from last year to this year in terms of personnel, but that was the big one. T-Roy Gaines, their longtime running back, one of the best in league history, at least recently. He moves to fullback to pave the way for the rookie Jimmy Hazard to come out of the minor leagues and take the reins as the running back. No catch there for Gaines. Third down. Wigmore will float it right seam out of the hands of his receiver, and it falls incomplete. He had to go skyward. Ivory Irvin did to try to make a play on that. Ricky Thornton on the coverage, and an early third down stop for Tulsa.
Yeah, but, really good effort there from Ivory Irvin, one of their top targets so far this season. Tulsa's defense, though, proving to be more than capable of handling this high-powered Baltimore offense, at least so far here.
Yeah, great first series defensively for Tulsa, no question about it. First 3 weeks of the season, Baltimore converted 60% of their third down opportunities, third best in the league. And now the first kick return opportunity, punt return opportunity, I should say, for Gabriel Manning. We mentioned 2 of the best in recent league history, Gabriel Manning and Giovanni Bolt. Both of these guys have been known to return kicks and punts for touchdowns over their careers. It's been kind of a middling return season so far for Manning, but anything but that for Bolt, who is about to step up defensively. And you bet those 2 will match up against each other in this phase of the game as well. You got to look at him there. Gabriel Manning, number 18 in the Tulsa white and bronze. They call them their rust uniforms. First and 10 for JQ, and a bullet pass over the middle, away and incomplete. He was looking for Manning right on cue, and Austin Brigham, their top corner, applying the coverage.
Yeah, just a really good ball overall from JQ. Unfortunate that the receiver just wasn't really able to get his hands on it there, but a good first look at least for Tulsa.
Gabriel Manning, DJ Hume, and Corey Jones have been the ever presence, the wide receiving core for Tulsa for the last couple of years. Now the second year in the SFL for JQ. Fake handoff to Sanzo Robinson. Q under pressure will loft it this way. Wide open. Pass is caught by Gabriel Manning for a very short gain. That's not what he's used to doing, Aaron. He's usually the flashy, huge play wide receiver, but this year, not so much, but partly because JQ does not really throw the ball that far down the field.
Yeah, JQ currently I believe 15th in the league in total yards. One of the lowest in terms of yards per catch is Tulsa, so definitely more of a short yardage team. Not necessarily a bad thing overall,
They're going to
but
need a lot here. Here's 3rd and 8, and they're going for Manning once again, Aaron. And that time, Austin Brigham had the coverage once again. That's a heavyweight matchup. Brigham has been great for Baltimore over the last 2+ years. We've already talked a little bit about just how good Manning is, and a 3rd down stop here for Baltimore on their first drive.
yeah, Baltimore's defense has also been really good
Yeah.
so far this season. Of course, there's a reason Baltimore is 3-0. Something interesting to mention, though, as we wait for this punt to go off, this is just the second time that Baltimore and Tulsa have played in league history. Their first outing back in season 14, with Baltimore again as the home team. And that game was won by the Vultures.
Yeah, one going away by the Vultures, in fact. And it's not really a surprise, I guess, because Baltimore SFL fans know this is one of the better franchises in the league. As we mentioned, season 15 champs, the first in franchise history. But here at home, they are almost unbeatable. It's kind of insane. They've won better than 70% of the games that they've played lifetime in franchise history. But here at home, better than 80%. They are tough to beat here. Now that's a good start for Tulsa. First play of the second drive for Baltimore. Down goes Jack Wigmore. Baltimore only allowed 5 sacks through their first 3 weeks, and Berto Demora has the second of the season.
Yeah, and that's going to be really big here for Tulsa if they can continue to apply that same type of pressure to Jack Wigmore. Uh, you can't have a good passing offense if your quarterback can't pass the ball.
No, no doubt. And they were on him in a hurry. So they will spread it out now with 5 wides for Wigmore to throw. Left seam he goes, pass is caught, wide open, first down, and a whole lot more for Ivory Irvin, and a big gain, and that is what this Baltimore offense can do.
Yeah, pressure was definitely still coming for Jack Wigmore there. The line for Baltimore, though, able to hold them off long enough for Jack to take that step he needed in the pocket, get that deep ball out to Ivory Irvin, who again has been one of Baltimore's top receivers so far this season.
26 yards through the air for Irvin. Going that way again, swatted away. Irvin had a step down the sideline, but the veteran corner, Tulsa's #1 defender, Nate Heslip, with the tip.
Yeah, that's just a great read by Heslip in order to get that deflection off. If that ball got over his head, that definitely would have been a touchdown for the Vultures. But Tulsa's defense continues to step up here in pretty big ways early on.
They'll spread it out once again. 5 wides for Wigmore on 2nd and 10. Just underway here in the first quarter, game 2 of 12 this week. Wigmore's pass through the hands once again. I think Irvin was on the target again. He sure was. That time the pass way too far away for even Ivory Irvin to haul in, and it's 3rd down.
Yeah, and this is honestly another big 3rd down for both Tulsa and Baltimore. If Baltimore doesn't convert here, granted, Tulsa's probably going to be pinned deep in their own territory, but it means that their defenses are pretty locked down so far this game.
3rd and 10 for the lefty Wigmore. Going this way this time, looking for Mac Chima, and it's swatted away. Another 3rd down stop for Tulsa. This time it's the 3rd-year corner, Cameron Shaw.
Yeah, and like I said, that's honestly probably bigger for Tulsa than it is for Baltimore at this point. Baltimore's offense is easily one of the best in the league, especially when it comes to throwing the ball through the air. And Tulsa so far has managed to keep them relatively in check.
There's no question about it, and you're going against one of the best quarterbacks in Wigmore, a really great stable of pass catchers. Plenty of daylight there for Manning, but he elected to fair catch the ball. One of the best stable of pass catchers in the SFL with these four pass catchers, the three wides and the tight end, Lloyd Graham. And still, Tulsa gave up that one big play to Ivory Irvin. And other than that, nothing at all through their first two defensive possessions. But now the question that you asked, Aaron, can the Tulsa offense keep up with the Baltimore offense? The Tulsa defense has been solid to this point of the season, and they were pretty good last season as well. But can the offense find a way to get something going? JQ will toss it out. Stephen McMichael's the new addition to this offense, the third-year man. He's played tight end. He's played fullback in the SFL, former running back in the minor leagues, now back to fullback, and he's got his first catch of the day for a gain of about one.
Yeah, it's actually his first catch of the season, it appears, for Stephen McMichaels.
He's been used intermittently over his first couple of seasons in the SFL, now his third total team, trying to join his fellow former SFLM graduate JQ, who's back to pass under pressure and into traffic. That could have been picked. A couple of vultures were right there. JQ dodges a bullet. That's Troy Loshaw, who barely dropped anything last year. He had 12 interceptions, top 3 in the SFL. None for him so far this year. That should have been number 1.
Yeah, and Loshaw definitely shaking his head, maybe beating himself up over that one. That one was right in his hands, just couldn't get a hold of it. A big break here for Tulsa, but a long third down again.
We mentioned JQ does not like to throw the ball very far, but for the second straight set of down, or second straight possession, he will have to over the middle. Nobody home. Corey Jones was the nearest man to it. So here's a look at Sanzo Robinson, who was trying to help out, and nobody in the vicinity for JQ, and it'll be fourth down.
Yeah, and this right now is where Baltimore is going to get their biggest advantage, since JQ doesn't particularly throw the ball deep. Because they're going to force these deep punts like this, Baltimore is going to have the edge in ball position.
And if you give a team like Baltimore these opportunities, as Ismaila Farouk is barely able to get the punt away, Bolt's ready for the return, spins right into traffic, not much doing for him here. My take on this, Aaron, is that obviously Baltimore is a great team. They're 3-0 and have had a lot of success so far, even against some solid teams. But if you give Baltimore these opportunities, you put them on the 45 to start a drive, this offense, this coaching staff, they're way too good. They're going to punish a team more time than not. And that is what their first 3 opponents saw. In their first week against LA, they picked off Sully Richardson 4 times, sacked him 8 more times. The Lycans were doomed from the start. Last week against St. Louis and Christian Brown, similar story. 1st and 10 for Jack Wigmore. He'll throw it this way. T-Roy Gaines is somehow able to tiptoe the sidelines and pick up 8 before he finally walks out of bounds.
Yeah, the fullback, the halfback turned fullback T-Roy Gaines coming out of the backfield on a nice wheel route there. Picking up 8 yards, realistically might have been able to get more, just a little bit too close to the sideline there. And Tulsa's defense is in desperate need of getting something big here in order to ignite the spark for their offense.
T-Roy is usually not one to shy away from contact, but had to do so there. Wigmore floats it over, pass is caught for a first down, and that's Irvin once again. Pickup of about 5 for him there, and he was wide open enough to move the sticks.
Yeah, just a nice almost drag route there, just right past the line, right in between the linebackers, was able to get into some open space and get that ball. Good first down here for Baltimore as they're starting to drive now.
Different looking formation. Wigmore will toss it out to Jimmy Hazard, the rookie running back, spinning around, picking up 4. Cameron Shaw on the stop will introduce you to the Baltimore offense. Jack Wigmore, the quarterback, Jimmy Hazard, the tailback. T-Roy Gaines is the fullback, 3 wide receivers, Ivory Irvin, Mac Chima, and the veteran Daley Holder. And the tight end is Lloyd Graham Jr. with Shark Tarkington handling the kicking duties. No standouts on this offensive line for Baltimore. Same setup for Tulsa, even though they have employed a couple of them in years past. 2nd and 6. Wigmore on a straight drop. He'll look back this way again. It's caught again by Jimmy Hazard. Breaks out of a tackle and a sidestep for Hazard. Still going down the sideline, and he's taken down at the 10-yard line. It's a flash from the rookie Jimmy Hazard. Jorge Torres makes the stop, and the biggest play of the game for the rookie. That's what he can do.
Yeah, and that's where Jimmy Hazard's honestly the most dangerous. He's able to get shed the first tackle, managed to get some space to put a nice juke move on another. And realistically, if I believe that was Daniel Wright on the tackle, if he hadn't been there, then this Baltimore offense would be sitting pretty with that 6 points.
Yeah, it was a great stop at the end of the run, but Hazard able to put some moves out there and welcome himself back to this offense after he had to sit almost the entire game with an injury last week. Wigmore floats it up, wide open, caught by Chima. He tries to dance towards the goal line, and a couple of desperados with rallying tackles to keep him out, at least for now. Philadelphia Collins, the rookie backer, was there, and a pickup of 9 through the air for Chima.
Yeah, and if that pass had been up the middle and it had been on the edge, I think Chima probably would have gotten in there. But I wouldn't be surprised if they try to pound this through with either T. Roy or Jimmy Hazard.
That's why you've got T. Roy as the fullback now, but instead Wigmore will pass. He will go looking for Hazard, and he walks in for a touchdown. The Duke strikes with his first career receiving touchdown, and Baltimore takes advantage of that short field. They've got the lead.
I called it too. Just a quick pass to the outside. Tulsa didn't really have anyone covering, and Jimmy Hazard just able to waltz right into the end zone after the reception. Big ups to him on his first career receiving touchdown.
You're right, Aaron. You called it. And that, I think, is the point, like, ideologically for Baltimore this offseason to move T. Roy Gaines, the famous power back. You know, like we said earlier, he isn't afraid of contact. He loves to run through guys rather than around guys. He seems like a natural fit at fullback. So you bring in a more flashy back like Jimmy Hazard to be your main pass-catching guy, something T. Roy was very good at as well as Tarkington hits the PAT. You bring him in, and it's just a different look for this Baltimore offense, which has had plenty of success in recent years, don't get me wrong, but that gives you a different look, and it makes the opponent have to respect the give to the fullback in a situation like that, where that was a realistic option for the Baltimore offense.
Absolutely, but not only do you have to respect the fullback on the ground, you also have to respect that gives Baltimore another pass option for Jack Wigmore. Basically, sometimes 5, maybe a 6th receiver on the field with the addition of the fullback there.
If you're new to the SFL like Jimmy Hazard was, you're watching the Simulation Football League. It combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. Tulsa trailing for the first time thanks to the receiving touchdown from Jimmy Hazard. JQ trying to answer. Bombs it over the middle, and it's caught for a big gain. Best play on offense for the Desperados. It's the slot receiver, DJ Hume, with a gain of 19.
Yeah, it was just a really good catch there by DJ Hume. The slot guy here with a nice post route manages to just get right inside of that safety there to get that ball before the rest of Baltimore is able to crash down and stop that play in its tracks. But a good ball from JQ to DJ Hume there.
Yeah, great pass from Q, no question. We've been a little bit hard on him to start, but he's had his moments here now in his second season as an SFL QB after 2 years in the minors. First down for him. He'll float it right sideline, and it's picked off. He had Jones with the step behind the defender, but the pass was too far behind, and Q has it taken away by Ben Stackenpaper. And the Vultures with the first pick of the game.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate there. Corey Jones, arguably the best receiver on this Tulsa Desperado team. Unfortunately, just a step behind Stackenpaper there. The ball just a little underthrown for Corey there. And that's going to be a big interception for Baltimore here late in this first quarter.
Third interception of the season already for Stackenpaper. Wigmore wants it all. Chima with the step behind Cameron Shaw. Mac Chima to the races and to the house. A 57-yard touchdown, a 67-yard touchdown make it for Mac Chima. And right after the interception, Baltimore's right back into the end zone.
Yeah, talk about an explosive play immediately after the interception. Just a beautiful ball from Wigmore to Max Chima. Chima just absolutely wide open. No defenders really anywhere near him. And Chima goes easily 70 yards for that touchdown.
Just absolutely smoked Cameron Shaw, who's made a couple of great plays in this game already. But that is exactly what we were talking about this Baltimore offense, Aaron. They get the takeaway on defense. Now their 11th interception as a team. And one play later, Jack Wigmore links up with Mac Chima, who is a real speedster, and he burns Shaw and the defense for another touchdown. Just his second of this season, but already the 13th passing touchdown for Jack Wigmore, as the PAT from Tarkington, who was just on kicking one a second ago, is up and good. It's becoming a real battle already through 3 weeks. Jack Wigmore and Tom Pepper, they were tied for the league lead with 11 passing touchdowns through 3 weeks. Obviously, Pepper will play later this weekend. You see that at the bottom of your screen. Vancouver playing tonight against Las Vegas, but Wigmore with 2 early here in the early slate. Deep kickoff from Tarkington. Manning will field in his end zone. Can he try to be a spark plug? Gets out to the 22 and no further. You liked that. I mean, I liked that aggressiveness from Q on the last drive, Aaron, but it just came back to bite him.
I absolutely agree with you there. I think if Tulsa wants to stay in this game and have an opportunity to win and keep it, just keep it close here in the first, but overall to win this game, I definitely think we need to see more of that aggressive side from JQ in this Tulsa offense.
Now down by 2 scores early in the first quarter. How aggressive do you get? 1st and 10. Q has all day on a deep out route. It's caught, and the receiver has his legs cut out from under him. Great tackle at the end of the run by Stacking Paper, who just had that interception. That's Roderick Davis, one of the second stringers on the catch, and a pickup of 10.
Yeah, but that's big first down to start this drive. Nice 10-yard pickup by that the second string receiver there. I want to see more of that, honestly, out of Tulsa's offense here. If they can keep the plays like that going consistently, we could start the second quarter here with Tulsa only down by a score.
With a 2-back set and JQ under center with 3 wides. Baltimore stacking the line a little bit under 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Quick pass this time from Q. It's caught. Gabriel Manning on the catch. He picks up 5 through the air, and that is Austin Brigham once again on the stop. Here is the Tulsa offense for head coach Deion Hawkins and offensive coordinator Berto DeMora. JQ is the quarterback. The veteran Sanzo Robinson, and the Tulsa native is the running back. Stephen McMichael's the fullback. Wide receivers Gabriel Manning, DJ Hume, and Corey Jones. The tight end is Jason France, and the kicker JT Delaney in his first year playing for Tulsa. 2nd and 5, the first carry for Sanzo Robinson, and he does not have a long way to go. Stopped after a gain of just 1 by Keenan Samuels, the new addition to this Baltimore defense.
Yeah, Sanzo Robinson been pretty quiet in the backfield so far this game. Definitely not the best start for him so far, but potential for him to potentially get something going here for Tulsa as they hand the ball to him again.
Yeah, they will go to him again on 3rd and 4, and he delivers. And that is what Sanzo Robinson can do. They needed 4. He gets them 4, just enough to move the sticks. The word I keep coming back to, Aaron, is unlock, because it looks like Tulsa's got some pieces, and they know all about Sanzo Robinson, and league fans know all about Gabriel Manning and Corey Jones. Those 2 guys have been going at it here in the league for various teams for a long time, but Deion Hawkins just needs to put all these pieces together. They will stretch it out to Sanzo. 3 straight carries for him there on this drive. Gain of just 1, and Samuels again makes the stop. So can they put all of these pieces together, Tulsa, is the question that I keep asking, because Q was good mostly last year as a rookie. Sanzo has had his moments, but to this point of this season, neither of them have really been able to stretch a whole lot of good things together, and Tulsa, of course, is 1 and 2. 2nd and 9 for Q. He will throw it off to Robinson. 4th straight catch, 4th straight play involving him, I should say, and this time Baltimore is ready in the backfield, and a big stop. Tackle made by Marvin Hines. Corner from Rochester, New York. Marvin Himes with his 2nd TFL of the season. 3rd and long for Q. Over the middle, pass is swatted away. That's Troy Loshaw once again, one of the ultimate ball hawks in this Baltimore backfield, and another 4th down coming up for the Desperados. Ismaila Farouk on to punt once again. Another great stop for this Baltimore defense. A lot's been made about their offense. They nearly block it again. That is 3 straight punt attempts that this defense has nearly gotten a piece of. And Giovanni Bold, great coverage from Tulsa. Nowhere to go for him there. Visit the SFL League website at simulationfl.net for info on how to create a player to join our community, the league, and the teams that play in it, and a comprehensive history of the SFL. It's over 1,500 games, and it's thousands of players who have hit the virtual field. The Simulation Football League, 17 seasons strong. One of 2 games across our network here this first block, first 2 of 6 games here on this SFL Saturday. Happy to have you with us here on Twitch. Alongside Aaron Alexander, I'm Tim Hackett. Another possession here for Baltimore. They've scored on their last 2. T-Roy Gaines, the fullback, on that carry. He plunges up the middle and picks up a couple. Here is the Tulsa defense for head coach Deion Hawkins and defensive coordinator Jaden Swift. Jaden Swift is on the defensive line along with Berto Demora and Chris Andrews, who's had a great season. Linebackers Carson Miller, Miles Gibson, and Philadelphia Collins, and 6 standouts in the secondary. 2nd and 7. Bullet pass from Wigmore. Out of the backfield, it's caught. And check that. It's Lloyd Graham Jr., the tight end, his first catch of the game on a quick out, and another first down for the Vultures, who are really starting to roll on offense. Philadelphia Collins on the stop. A couple of Tulsa defenders there, as well as Ricky Thornton. Graham able to just stay in bounds. The defensive backfield for the Desperados: corners Nate Heslip, Cameron Shaw, and Julian Valier. Safeties Jorge Torres, Ricky Thornton, and Daniel Wright. So with all of those standouts in the secondary, you would think this Tulsa defense is well equipped to defend the pass, and you know that Baltimore likes to pass. They will do so here. Irvin, with a quick 180, somehow is able to stay in bounds and pick up 7 through the sky.
Yeah, and that was honestly really close, I think, to being called incomplete. Potentially we could see a challenge out of Tulsa. I don't think that's the smart call here, but a good opening start to this drive for Baltimore.
How about that about face from Irvin? I thought for sure he was going to end up out of bounds, but somehow was able to keep himself in. 2nd and 3 for Wigmore. Time ticking down in the first quarter. Top of the screen, wide open. Lloyd Graham Jr., first down and a whole lot more. Accelerating down the sideline and taken down at the 20-yard line of the big play tight end. Lloyd Graham Jr. has arrived. Baltimore in the red zone to end the first quarter.
Yeah, that's not something we typically see out of tight ends. It's usually the receivers that are making big flashy plays like that. But that play by Lloyd Graham Jr., definitely impressive from the tight end there in order to get Baltimore into the red zone to start their second quarter.
A gain of better than 30 through the air. We are done with 1 in Baltimore. This is the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music, live on Twitch. Happy to have you with us from Vultures Field, where this team in all red, as you see Jack Wigmore right there, has been lethal over the existence of their franchise. Tim Hackett and Aaron Alexander here with you in the booth. Dwayne Schindler and Justin Reeside handling the stats. From the 20-yard line, Wigmore under pressure, hit as he throws, and just barely able to get that pass away. He got waylaid by Jaden Swift.
Yeah, definitely a lot of good pressure there coming through from Tulsa's defense. Unfortunate they weren't able to get their hands on Jack Wigmore before he got that ball away. But Jack Wigmore still lethal so far, over 200 yards already in the first quarter.
It's pretty insane, isn't it? That's just a small snippet of what he can do. He's been fantastic. And one big play to Chima help. Going for another big play, and it's Chima once again. He delivers a pickup of 12 in Baltimore. 1st and goal coming up.
Yeah, Mac Chima has been the torchbearer so far for this Baltimore offense here. Currently sitting at just over 100, almost 125 yards of total receiving, and it's only the beginning of the second quarter.
From the 8-yard line, deep drop back from Wigmore. He'll step up, bullet it this way, and it's through the feet of Lloyd Graham Jr. Nate Heslip was in the area. Was not the greatest throw from Wigmore, but it's hard to throw across your body in motion like that.
Yeah, Wigmore definitely feeling the pressure from this front 3 of Tulsa's defense. Eventually, this offensive line of Baltimore is going to break, and we're going to see a big sack from Tulsa. I can feel it in my bones.
Tulsa hopes that is right now to try to knock this Baltimore offense out of striking distance. On second down, they'll give it to T-Roy Gaines, and that's good enough for Tulsa. That stone wall arrives, nowhere to go for T-Roy. Miles Gibson, the rookie inside linebacker, hasn't had a big season so far, Aaron, but that is a big stop for him on second down.
Yeah, absolutely. He definitely has been a bit outpaced by specifically Carson Miller, the veteran outside linebacker, but also by his rookie teammate Philadelphia Collins. As Wigmore looks deep to the end zone and doesn't get it.
Had Ivory Irvin in the corner in double coverage, and this is Nate Heslip territory. The Baltimore offense has been able to strike so far twice in this game, well, multiple times if we're honest, Aaron, but Nate Heslip one-on-one in the corner, good luck.
Yeah, just a good read there from Heslip in order to get that ball out of the air, prevent the touchdown for Baltimore, and it looks like they're gonna have to settle for 3 here, Tim.
So the Tulsa defense makes the stand. Baltimore drives, gets its first red zone opportunity, but they will have to settle for 3 points from Shark Tarkington, who is about as automatic as it gets in modern SFL history. He's 10 of 10 on his kicks so far this year. This one a chip shot, Adam Jefferson with the hold, and the kick from 24 is up and good. No problem for Shark Tarkington, 11 of 11. We mentioned that a couple of these other guys for Baltimore are in their individual leaderboards battles through just 3 weeks, admittedly, but Tarkington in a battle with Ethan Snead of Florida for most prolific kicker in the SFL this season, it seems. They were both 10 of 10 through 3 weeks. Tarkington's got one on the board for him here.
Yeah, and Tarkington, at least as far as career totals go, currently sits second all time in both made and attempted. I believe behind Ethan Snead, if I remember correctly here.
He's been great in his career. There isn't any question about it. And when you mix that in with how lethal this offense can be at times, what a luxury it is to have a kicker that, you know, if you're Tim Johnston and Thomas Paterniti, the veterans behind this Baltimore team, your offense stalls out in enemy territory like it did right there, you can go to one of the most reliable legs in the league to get you a safe 3 points. JQ now down by 3 scores. That's a great way to start. Nice pass over the middle and across the 40-yard line on one play. A nice pickup for Corey Jones.
Yeah, just a really good start here. Again, for this drive by Tulsa, a little aggressive on the pass there. But a great catch by Corey Jones, and hopefully that's what Tulsa needs to get this drive going.
They just need to start settling things down and get the ball moving a little bit. They've had some good plays, like you hinted at. The first plays of drives occasionally have been good, but eventually it's just stalled out. They can't let that happen if they want to stay in this game. Cue to the top of the screen. That is caught and able to tiptoe the sidelines before he falls out of bounds is Gabriel Manning. He lives on those medium out routes, and he gets 6 that time. Here is the Baltimore defense. You've heard from a lot of them already. Haven't heard from the defensive line yet, even though they have been great so far this season. Tucker Lewis and Al Walker on the outsides. Nate Brown and Suron Yates the fourth on the insides. Alvin Mack, Frank Smith, and Keenan Samuels are the linebackers with 5 standouts in the secondary. From just outside of midfield, 2-back set. Q will throw. It's caught for a first down. It's Corey Jones once again, and another pickup for Jones, his second catch of this drive. Alvin Mack on the stop, and Tulsa gets across midfield, first down.
Yeah, JQ definitely starting to enter his comfort zone. He's happy place here with these short balls to Corey Jones, to Gabriel Manning here. It's a good look for Tulsa here on their drive. I just hope that they can continue this and score.
Now Q's going to go deep this time, and reaching up to make the catch is Corey Jones. 3 catches on this drive for the 10th-year veteran from Tulsa. Goes skyward to haul that one in.
What an aggressive ball here from JQ. Just a great pass, able to get it just over the hand of Ben Stackenpaper, who's already has an interception today. And Corey Jones with the spark, I think, that Tulsa needed in order to potentially score here on this drive.
That was the same type of play that Stackenpaper had that interception on earlier. Q over the middle. That's caught for another short gain. That's Gabriel Manning on a quick in route. And this is the offense that Tulsa has had working. We've hinted at it, Aaron. JQ with a yards per attempt of less than 6, second to last in the league through 3 weeks. None of these wide receivers have big yards per catch numbers, all of them less than 15, which is pretty low in modern SFL standards. But this is how Tulsa gets its offense going, and that is how they've been able to work down the field. Now inside the red zone for the first time today from the 17. Here's Robinson trying to cut it outside, lowers the shoulder and gets the first down.
Yeah, that's what you want out of a running back like Sansa Robinson. Short yarded situation there on second down. They hand the ball off to their big power back, and he's able to get the first down and a little more.
Here is the secondary for Baltimore real quick. Ben Stack and Paper, Austin Brigham, Marvin Hines, the corners. Giovanni Bolt and Troy Loshaw are the safeties. From the 12, Q steps back, throws this way. It's caught short of the sticks by DJ Hume, who only had 3 catches last week. He's got his second of this game a few minutes into the second quarter and a gain of 8.
Yeah, and this is a really big decision time here if you're Tulsa. Do you trust in your franchise quarterback in JQ, or do you hand the ball off to Sansa Robinson to either try and get this first down or punch it into the end zone?
Great question. 2 wides and 2 tight ends. They will give it to Robinson. Tries to truck forward. Only picks up 1. He carries Nate Brown with him for a gain of just 1. This defensive line for Baltimore underwent a little bit of a makeover in the offseason, but all 4 of these guys are the same. They've all been on this team for at least 3 years. They have all been really good so far this season, but they're going to need to weather the storm. Now 3rd and 1 from the 2. Desperados can get a first down. Robinson won't get either. He is stopped short of the magic yellow line.
Way. There's absolutely no way on both of these plays that Sansa Robinson does not get that first down. I don't agree with the spot of either of those balls. And honestly, I fear for Tulsa. They're going to kick this one away. I definitely think they should have. I stand corrected.
Wow.
Corrected.
Quick about face. They will bring the offense back out there. Play clock shows 15 on 4th and inches.
They're going to try a bait and switch. They're not going to snap this ball.
Yeah, that I would figure not at this point.
That's so frustrating. Just give it to your fullback. Just give it to your fullback.
They have Stephen McMichaels. They did not have a fullback last season, Aaron, to your point. You know a thing or two about good fullbacks. That was part of the reason. They had 2 offensive linemen last year. You get a look at head coach Deion Hawkins there. 2 offensive linemen. They let them both go. That allows them to bring in a fullback and another defensive back, Daniel Wright, along with the fullback, Stephen McMichaels, and they don't use him there. They will call a timeout and go to their new kicker, JT Delaney, to try to get him on the board.
Yeah, even the head coach, Deion Hawkins, is like, just hike the ball. just hand it off.
Somehow, I mean, you make a great point. Sanzo needed 2 yards. Well, Tulsa needed 2 yards. And somehow on 2 carries, Sanzo Robinson was not able to get it. So JT Delaney with his first field goal attempt of the game, straight through from 19 yards. No trouble for him. He's been perfect in his first season with Tulsa. Spent his first 3 years kicking for the London Knights. Moved on here to the center of the United States, and he's now 6 of 6 to start off his campaign. And Tulsa has an answer. It's 17-3.
Well, I mean, upsides, right? Tulsa has points on the board now. They're not going to go into halftime with a goose egg. I still just don't agree, especially on that 3rd down run with the spot of that ball. Ref 62, blind as usual, it seems.
Might need to get him a glasses sponsorship here in the SFL. Look, how about these last 2 scoring drives? Thanks to Dwayne Schindler and Justin Reside for taking care of us in the stat truck today. That Baltimore field goal drive for Tarkington, 10 plays, 60 yards, and obviously that 3 points from Tarkington coming from 24 yards out. That drive for Tulsa, 10 plays, 68 yards, ending in a 24-yard field goal from JT Delaney. So actually, I lied, for a 19-yard field goal, from JT Delaney. So first down for Wigmore, into traffic, risky pass. He was going for Irvin once again. See that? He's been targeted 8 times already in this game. Sure feels like he's had more than 3 catches, but that won't be one there.
Yeah, and getting back to your point about these last 2 drives, if anything, it just proves that under the right circumstances, Tulsa's offense can keep up with Baltimore. Unfortunately, Baltimore has just had a couple of really big plays here early in this first half that have led to this current scoreline of 17.
Yeah, that interception and then the immediate 67-yard touchdown run is one of the biggest differences in this game, no question. Can Baltimore add to it? Over the middle, Wigmore goes. It's out of the hands of his target. He got absolutely popped. That was Daley Holder. First time we've called his name in this game. He got popped as he was trying to haul it in. There is the defender, Julian Valier. First time we've called his name, and that brings up 3rd and 10.
Yeah, big third down here for Tulsa. Like, absolutely huge. If Tulsa can hold on this third down, not only are they going to get great field position on the ensuing punt, but it also gives their offense a chance to try and make up from the drive last time that only ended in a field goal.
Oh,
Mac
why
Shima says no.
Yeah, never mind. Wigmore has Chima wide open, and we believe that's the first successful third down conversion for the Vultures after they failed on their first couple, and Chima once again burns the defense and has another first down.
Yeah, definitely. And from the looks of the information from the stack truck here, you're exactly right. That is Baltimore's first third down conversion of this game. Unfortunate for Tulsa that, it's their first third down conversion, but Baltimore continued to drive down the field here in the second half, or second quarter, excuse me.
Yeah, across midfield on just one play, and Wigmore will toss it up. Much more modest gain that time through the air. Daley Holder has the catch. And we were going to bring this up, Aaron. We love to do milestone watches. You're very good at that. Mac Chima comes into this game 207 yards away from 3,000 in his career. I was going to say, that's probably not feasible. You don't see wide receivers go over 200 very often in the SFL. 100-yard games, sure, and Chima has done that plenty. 200-yard games, not likely is what I was going to say, but through a quarter and a half, he's got almost 150. To the top of the screen, here goes Lloyd Graham, his third catch already of this quarter, and another first down for the Vultures.
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote that down as, hey, it's close. It's unlikely to happen because, as you said, 200-yard receiving games don't typically happen. But with the way Baltimore's offense has been playing, especially with how many balls Wigmore has thrown to Mac Chima, it's definitely stands to reason that it's within the realm of possibility in this game. For the third-year receiver to hit 3,000, actually fourth-year receiver, excuse me.
Heavy set. Here is Jimmy Hazard. This Baltimore offense is so fluid as Hazard picks up 3. We didn't see Hazard all that much on the first drive. Then they started to use him more on their second extended drive. Haven't seen him a whole lot since. And Wigmore is one of the most pass-happy quarterbacks in the SFL. He was last year as well. He's first in completions, third in pass attempts, second in yards. Jimmy Hazard only 19 carries through 3 weeks, though, as we said, he did leave early last week with an injury. 2nd and 7. Wigmore throws again, and a diving catch is made by Daley Holder. He's down inside the 2.
That's ridiculous. Jack Wigmore already almost 300 yards here in this first half. What a catch from Daley Holder, though. Goodness gracious. If Holder's able to keep on his feet there, that definitely would have been another touchdown for this Vulture offense.
He was that close, but instead they will have to try again. From the 2-yard line, just over 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. 2 wides, 2 tight ends, and Hazard alone in the backfield. Wigmore to throw. Over the middle, wide open, easy does it. Ivory Irvin, touchdown Baltimore. The Vultures convert again, and Ivory Irvin goes to sleep. He thinks he's put this game to bed.
maybe a little cockiness there from Ivory Irvin sleeping on this Tulsa defense. Admittedly, it was a really good ball from Wigmore into the hands of Ivory Irvin. Ton of Tulsa's secondary and linebacking core just wasn't really in the area to stop that ball from happening. Really easy 6 points here for Baltimore. Shark Tarkington, just a PAT away from making this a 3-touchdown game.
3rd passing touchdown of the game from Wigmore. 6th receiving touchdown of the season for Ivory Irvin. Best in the league, and we've seen something from everybody on this Vulture team so far, and we saw something from everybody, all the pass catchers at least, on that drive. All 4 of them made impressive catches. Remember that catch from Chima on 3rd down, that catch from Lloyd Graham Jr. for 15 yards to move him down the field, that bullet catch from Holder to get him inside the 2, and Irvin caps it off with a touchdown. He is their ultimate pass catching guy, their ultimate safety blanket, great at catching the short balls, great at catching the touchdowns, and he caps that drive off. Another masterclass for Wigmore. Manning breaks out of a couple of tackles, finally is brought down at the 30, and our first penalty flag of this game. I thought Manning was going to be stopped at the 20, somehow was able to pick up an extra 10. And let's see what the call is. A face
Going to be
mask.
face mask, so he's going to get even more there. Gabriel Manning, the premier return specialist here in the SFL. So far this season, 16 kick return touchdowns, good for second, and 4 punt return touchdowns, tied for first with Giovanni Bolt.
Yeah, exactly. That's the ultimate matchup in this game, position versus position. Those two guys each have 4 punt return touchdowns, most in the league. And this Baltimore offense has started to cook. They now have a 3-touchdown edge with 3 minutes left until halftime. Q trying to respond, and a great pass over the middle. It's caught by Jason France, the tight end, has his first catch of the game. That scoring drive for Baltimore, 8 plays, 68 yards, 2-yard receiving touchdown by Ivory Irvin. And Dwayne Schindler telling us that is the 3rd straight drive between these two teams, lasting at least 8 plays and going at least 60 yards. So this second quarter has flown by as both teams have moved the ball down the field. Baltimore getting a touchdown on its most recent possession. It's also only with the 3-pointer. Here's Robinson, nowhere to go for him. Great defense from Baltimore. Al Walker, the defensive end, on the stop.
Yeah, and unfortunate that Robinson isn't able to really get anything going. Pretty much any time they've given him the ball, save for when they were in the red zone this last drive as we hit the 2-minute warning, they just weren't able to really push through like they wanted. And that play there just kind of proves that Baltimore's defense definitely more keen on these runs from Sanzo Robinson.
2 minutes left in the first half. You are watching the SFL presented by APM Music live on Twitch. Happy to have you with us. Another important 3rd down for Tulsa. Q lofts it this way. No problem for him that time. Corey Jones right out to the midfield line, and Tulsa converts.
Yeah, and that's really good pass there from JQ to Corey Jones. Exactly what they needed on that 3rd down there in order to convert as they hit midfield here with less than 2 minutes to go.
We mentioned we haven't really heard a lot from this Baltimore defensive line. It's a little bit of a surprise. They had 15 total sacks as a team through 3 weeks. All 4 of their guys have at least 2 on the season. All 4 of them are at least in the top 20 in the SFL in sacks. So far, none of them have any, as Robinson is able to pick up 3. And it's not like they've just been feeding Sanzo all the time and not allowing for any pass attempts for JQ. I mean, quite the opposite. Q has attempted 20 passes. That's just the 8th carry for Sanzo Robinson. But to this point, the Baltimore defense, the defensive front, has not been able to break through. They've still provided enough pressure to make Q a little uncomfortable. Here's 2nd and 7. Q over the middle, caught again by France. And a gain of 10 through the air and another first down for Tulsa.
Yeah, it was a really, really good ball there from JQ. I'm going to mention this now. The defensive line actually able to get through on that play and almost get some pressure to JQ. Unfortunate, though, the lineman that got through was on the ground, not able to get up to prevent that pass.
2nd straight first down for Tulsa. Over the middle they go again, and another first down. This Desperado offense clicking on this drive, Aaron. Corey Jones with the catch.
Yeah, JQ hit as he threw that ball there. The defensive pressure starting to come through now for Baltimore.
50 seconds left. Q over the middle. Tipped again. Could have been intercepted. A couple of vultures had their hands on it. There's Saron Yates. He applied the pressure. Risky throw from Q, who just barely got to the line. 2nd down.
Yeah, unfortunate for Saron Yates that he's not able to bring JQ down, but a very, very, very lucky break for Tulsa as they're able to stop the clock here, reset.
Tulsa dodges another bullet. They've already picked off JQ once, have the vulture defense. Ooh, into a tight window he goes. Gabriel Manning flips the script and hits that middle out route, pick up a 5 down at the bottom of the screen, and the Desperados quickly inside the red zone with 42 seconds left.
Yeah, and this is another really big 3rd down here for Tulsa. They definitely need to convert this if they want a chance to get this to a two-score game before halftime. They definitely have the tools to do it, though.
From the 17, Q over the middle, another first down for Tulsa. They'll have first and goal from the 7. That's DJ Hume on the catch. Quickly back to the line they go. Half a minute to go until halftime. The Desperados needing some points. Q, top of the screen, pass is caught, touchdown. Gabriel Manning in for the Desperados. Another touchdown catch for the league veteran, his 3rd of the season. And Tulsa with an important answers touchdown drive.
And that's what Tulsa needed last drive, was a play like that. They unfortunately weren't really able to get it off, but it works, excuse me, absolute wonders for them here late in the second quarter. And they're only down by 2 scores now, potentially going into halftime.
I see you, Mark Lopez. The PAT from JT Delaney is up and good. How much do you think that does for just, if you believe in momentum, Aaron, let's go with that. We'll use that word, the momentum for Tulsa. It's still a 14-point deficit against one of the best teams in the league, unless Baltimore can add to it at the end of this first half. They have all 3 timeouts. How much does scoring on a great-looking drive like that do for your energy and your momentum going into the halftime break?
It's so much. It does so much for an offense. It's a mood improver. It sort of swings the momentum more toward your team. It allows your defense to play at a slightly higher level, because it's like, hey, I know that the offense has my back if we get to stop on this drive.
How aggressive do you get here if you're Baltimore?
If you're Baltimore, just give the ball to Jimmy Hazard, take it at halftime.
We'll split back it here with 21 seconds left. Oh, I think Tulsa jumped offside. Baltimore will give it to Jimmy Hazard, but the decision now for TJ and T-Pat, as they like to be called.
I don't think that the plan changes. I think you just run the clock out with Timor and Jimmy Hazard. You are correct on the encroachment there from Tulsa. They did jump a little early, but I think you just run the clock out. You have a 2-touchdown lead. You don't want to take any risks here, and potentially allow Tulsa to get even closer to you before the start of the half.
That was Chris Andrews. He's had a fantastic season so far. He was the one who jumped offside. That scoring drive for Tulsa, the longest by plays and by yards for either team so far today. 11 plays, 79 yards, capped off by the 7-yard touchdown from Q to Manning. So now 1st and 5. Wigmore's going to drop back and look to throw, and down he goes. That might change the mentality here. Chris Andrews makes up for that mistake with another sack. He's now got 5.5 this season.
That's why I said you just give the ball to Jimmy Hazard and run the clock out. Because imagine if Mark Andrews sacks that ball and picks it up and runs it back in for a touchdown. Can you imagine the swing and momentum of this game if that were to happen?
No, and we talked about as we officially hit the halftime break with Baltimore up 24-10. I asked you, how much does that one score do for the emotions, the positivity, the momentum for Tulsa? I can't imagine what that would have done. Look at the rushing yards in this game, but the biggest difference, obviously, Aaron, the passing yards. 120 more for Jack Wigmore as compared to JQ. No turnovers and a 14-point lead for the home team.
And it's definitely been this passing attack for Baltimore. That's the reason that they're in the lead in this game. They've been utilizing Jimmy Hazard more as an extra receiving option than as a running back up the middle. He's proven himself incredibly capable in that role.
You saw him there. That was his big catch in the first quarter to set up a score. This was the takeaway for Baltimore, their 11th interception of the season, 12th total takeaway. They are one of the best takeaway teams in the SFL. Their 11 takeaways was good for 3rd entering action today, but their +6 turnover differential was best in the business. And there is that game-breaking play that Mac Chima has been known to provide over the course of his career. One of the biggest difference-making plays in this first half. 3 more touchdown passes for Jack Wigmore. He's got 14 now on the campaign, breaking a tie with Tom Pepper for first in the league, with Pepper, of course, coming up later on this afternoon. There is one more game in action right now over on Next Level Sports and on the FTF Next Twitch page, twitch.tv/FTF Next. The battle for the Carolinas, Charleston against Carolina with Tyler Falk and Ryan Caudill. You can flip on over and catch that one if you are so inclined. And there's the first half for Mac Chima, 116 yards and 1 touchdown. He has been tremendous so far in this game.
Absolutely. And that excuse me, that yardage for Chima is definitely a big contributor as well as to why this Baltimore offense has been so explosive, especially in this game. And again, they're ahead so far going into the second half.
Baltimore up by 14. We'll take a break. We'll be back for the second half. This is Simulation Football League live on Twitch. Welcome back to Vultures Field in Baltimore, where the home team tries to improve to 4-0 and stay among the ranks of the unbeaten, and the road team tries to poach off a signature upset win to keep pace in a competitive division. Tulsa will get the ball to start off the second half. Happy to have you with us wherever you're joining us from. Alongside Aaron Alexander, I'm Tim Hackett, Cameron Irvine, and Mike St. Green back in the studio. Justin Reside and Dwayne Schindler in the stat truck. Happy to have you alongside us. Second of 12 games across the SFL networks here on this weekend, week 4 of the SFL. 5 teams entered this week at 3-0. Baltimore trying to stay among the ranks of the unbeaten with a 14-point lead as we start off the second half. JQ will throw on his first play. It's caught at the top of the screen and a pickup of 4, and that is pretty much what has worked for this Tulsa offense most of this game, Aaron. Gain of 4 for Corey Jones, his 6th catch.
Yeah, and this is where JQ, as I will continue to bring up, it's his wheelhouse, right? These short yardage, quick passes that have led Tulsa to the amount of success that they've had going into this game. Excuse me.
Nothing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Nothing doing there for Sanzo Robinson. He runs right into the defensive line of Tucker Lewis.
JQ coming into this game at 6th in total completions, 4th in attempts, but only 15th in total yards. Just
right.
an attribution to why he likes throwing those short yards passes.
They'll need at least 7 here. Q wants it all, and a great throw that time on 3rd down and long, and it's hauled down by Jason France. Only 16 catches for him on the season, and he's got his 3rd of this game, and a big 3rd down conversion for the Desperados.
Yeah, Jason France has been one of the more prolific targets here for this Tulsa defense. Currently sits 2nd on the team as far as total receiving yards go, sitting behind Gabriel Manning. And, that catch there kind of proves why he's been really consistent as far as, being able to get these balls on deep passes.
Sanzo Robinson with the give, breaks out of a tackle, escapes another one from Alvin Mack, and Giovanni Bolt may have saved a touchdown. Sanzo inside the 30, his best run of the game.
Yeah, and that's the kind of jump start that I think this Tulsa offense needed. A big run there from Sanzo Robinson, who on the ground has been relatively quiet so far today, only getting typically around 4 or 5 yards per run there. That one good for 26.
averages 4.1 yards per carry, which sounds pretty good, but in the SFL, that is middle of the pack, 15th best. Q is now going to take off and run. You don't see that very often. Abandoned ship, and JQ picks up 5 through the ground.
I did not know that JQ was a scrambler. What a decision there from JQ, and he's going to pick up 5 on the ground.
He's no Matt Wilson, but that was an impressive run. Matt Wilson broke off, and I don't even remember how long it was last week for Mexico City, but like the longest run by a quarterback I have ever seen in the SFL. Dwayne Schindler, of course, told me after that, the league veteran, that there have been longer. Not since I've been here, that's for sure. Gain of 5 on the ground for Q. He will throw it this time. That's more like it. It's caught for a touchdown. DJ Hume on the catch, and Tulsa starts off the second half with 6.
That's how you want to start off the second half if you're Tulsa. What an incredible drive coming out of the locker room. And Tulsa now brings this to a 1-touchdown game incredibly early here in the second half. Tulsa momentum definitely on their side here currently.
First touchdown catch of the season for DJ Hume, 4th in his career as he starts his 3rd season here with the Tulsa Desperados. A wide receiver from the great city of Kansas City on the board here in season 17. JT Delaney for the PAT, no problem. Back-to-back touchdown drives for Tulsa to end the first half and to start the second half. Good teams do that, Aaron. You go 2 for 2, right? What's the mentality, the New England Patriots mentality? Score at the end, score at the beginning of the half. That's what they do so well. That's what is part of the reason why they have been a great football team, but that's what Tulsa's been able to do here as well. Get it right back into a 7-point game.
Yeah, and that's that drive there, 6 plays, 80 yards, ending in that 24-yard touchdown reception to DJ Hume.
Just a complete paradigm shift from the previous drive. Remember, we told you that was the longest drive in terms of plays and in terms of yards that either team had. So Tulsa grinding it out, hitting those short passes. Corey Jones and Gabriel Manning each had short catches on that drive. 11 plays, 79 yards. But to your point, Aaron, on that drive, they go 80 yards in just 6 plays, and they cap it off with a 25-yard passing touchdown. That's one of the biggest passing plays they've had in this game. So they weren't afraid to air it out on that drive, and on that situation, they had great success. What can Wigmore do for a response? Decent start, tosses it up, and he gets 4 through the air. Ivory Irvin with another catch.
Yeah, very very similar start there for Baltimore. Just a quick out route, quick 4 yards to start their first drive of the second half.
We haven't seen a whole lot from Jimmy Hazard, like you said, Aaron, and that was kind of one of the offseason narratives is how would they work in Jimmy Hazard? How much would they? How long would it take him to adapt? They will throw it out to him here, try to get him moving, and that is another example of what Jimmy Hazard can do. He is great through the sky. What have you seen from Jimmy Hazard? Because you got to cover him all year in the SFLM. How has he adapted so far to the major leagues?
Well, it's definitely a change of pace for him. I think he was definitely more of a true rushing back down in the minor leagues, but having been brought up to Baltimore in the draft, he's definitely adapted more to kind of a hybrid style back, able to really easily catch the ball, but also able to adapt well on handoffs. They're only getting 2 yards.
But somehow shakes out of a tackle, kind of showing his inner T-Roy Gaines. He could have been stopped for a loss of 2. Somehow was able to turn that into a gain of 2. Ricky Thornton, who leads this defensive backfield in tackles, makes the stop on that one.
Yeah, and getting back to Jimmy Hazard real quick, he's definitely adapted really well to this style of offense that Baltimore likes to run. He's sitting at 50 yards currently through the air, gets another good run for a first down. That's going to bring him up to 13 yards on 3 carries so far in this game.
Yeah, tack on another 8, I was about to say, right onto the magic yellow line, and a first down for Jimmy Hazard, one of his best plays on the ground so far in this game. That was Valier in on the stop eventually. And finally, they go to him a couple of times, trying to settle the ship maybe a little bit here as they start the second half.
Yeah, I definitely think it's smart. Definitely more of a clock control type of look here for Baltimore currently as they hand the ball off to Jimmy Hazard yet again.
3 straight carries for Hazard. He picks up 4 that time. Heslip on the stop. And the reason I brought that up, Aaron, is because, yes, he only had 1 carry last week before he was knocked out of the game with an injury, which was unfortunate. Baltimore was still able to rally and win that game against St. Louis. Wigmore, you see approaching 300 passing yards already. But Hazard, with those 19 carries, was last among running backs. Meanwhile, Wigmore, third among quarterbacks in pass attempts and first in completion. So it's really a pass-first offense. Was last year, too, with T. Roy Gaines. They will pass here on 2nd and 6. Irvin is able to reach out and pull in the ball, but he's still 2 yards short.
Yeah, and I definitely think that you're right that this is a pass first offense, but with a back like Jimmy Hazard, especially with T. Roy Gaines moving over to fullback, uh, there's still a lot that they can do with their formations and the plays that they run and
Sure.
everything to get T. Roy involved, to get Jimmy Hazard involved.
3rd and 2 for Wigmore. He'll float it over the middle. It's caught by Lloyd Graham Jr., and he's not able to shake away from Ricky Thornton. Thornton saves a touchdown, but Graham gets him inside the 10.
Yeah, and that's Graham's second big play here. Had one earlier on that went for 30. That one, another really big one, went for almost 40. And Baltimore looking to answer to the early touchdown from Tulsa here in the second half.
Man, just when you think that Baltimore was going to take it slow and continue to run out the ground game, they go up top, and Lloyd Graham gets him 39. From the 6, they'll throw it out to Hazard. This is how he scored the first time. Not this time, says Ricky Thornton. Cameron Shaw was in to help. Hazard, remember, that was how he scored his first touchdown through the air, the first touchdown of the game in the first quarter. Ricky Thornton makes sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore tries something like that again.
Sure.
Tulsa has been, especially deep in the red zone, haven't really been covering that outside flat particularly well. And it could prove to their benefit here as they try to go up the middle to Chima.
Chima was there in the middle, and there's Carson Miller. You hinted at him, Aaron. This whole linebacking core for Tulsa looks completely different from last year. The 3 guys that started in that middle third of the defense for them, they all left. So the Deion Hawkins and company had to completely revamp their linebacking core. And Carson Miller, the best of the pack, his 3rd year now in the SFL Bigs. He was a standout in the minors in his own right. Now 3rd and goal from the 3. Bunch set to the top and 1 to the bottom. Jimmy Hazard alone in the backfield. Wigmore over the middle, and it's caught. Touchdown. Baltimore does respond. Lloyd Graham Jr. gets him down there, and Lloyd Graham Jr. gets him, or Daley Holder actually gets him in. Another touchdown catch for the veteran. Baltimore extends the lead.
Yeah, I think you were thinking of Jason France there with the 87, but yeah, that was Delaney Holder with that grab there. Jack Wakemore's 4th passing touchdown. An interesting note, the 4th receiver of Baltimore to have a receiving touchdown.
Pretty amazing, right? 4 passing touchdowns, all to 4 different guys. That is how Baltimore does it. Wigmore's dynamic. This offense is really good. They can spread it around. Tarkington hits the PAT. Holder's been pretty quiet over the last 2 weeks. I mean, I remember watching Baltimore in week 1 against LA. Holder used to be one of the better wide receivers in the league, Aaron. I mean, way back in the day, it's his 9th season in the SFL, his 7th playing for the Vultures franchise. And there was a time when he was like a premier wide receiver, but he has embraced this wide receiver 3 role alongside that possession receiver that Irvin is, alongside the speedster of Chima, maybe sometimes even playing 4th fiddle behind the dynamic tight end Lloyd Graham Jr. But he was just, he looked like his old self in that week 1 game against LA. I thought, is Chima wearing a different number? What is this? And, oh, hold the phone for now. As Kevin Grayson, one of the tight ends for Tulsa, is down. Deion Hawkins has to pace the sideline. We'll keep an eye out on Kevin Grayson, who's one of the reserve tight ends, does a lot of good work here on special teams.
Yeah, unfortunate. Trying to put a block down there. Unfortunately, may have potentially pulled a shoulder. Maybe we'll have to see if we can get an update on him.
That means we'll see a little bit more of Brandon Williams behind Jason France. But just to put a period on that point on Daly Holder, that first week against LA, 5 catches for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is a Mac Chima type of game. Here goes Sanzo Robinson, breaks out of the first hit and somehow is able to pick up 6. It's been a pretty quiet season for Sanzo so far, Aaron, like we've said, but a little bit of a scope as to what he can bring to this offense.
Yeah, and so far in this second half, he's been getting a lot more of the load, which partially attributed to that big drive that Tulsa had to start the second half.
What can they do for an encore performance after Baltimore goes right back and scores themselves? Q hit as he throws, is able to get it down to Sanzo Robinson, and there is a nice spot that time for Tulsa, able to stretch out and get the first ahead of Troy Loshaw.
Yeah, definitely a good dump off there from JQ. A lot of pressure coming from the front four of Baltimore, but JQ able to get the ball off in time, keep this drive going.
Here goes Robinson up the middle, pickup of just a couple. Alvin Mack is at the top of the pile, and there is Tucker Lewis at the bottom of the pile. What I think is fascinating, Aaron, is that Tim Johnston and Thomas Paterniti, the brain trust here for Baltimore, they've clearly built a team that people want to play for. They've had barely any turnover this past offseason, but this past offseason probably looked like a disaster after the offseason between season 15 and 16 where they had literally 0 changes. They brought everybody back. 2nd and 9 into a tight window. Q's pass is somehow caught right at the line of scrimmage by Jason France. That's about the most work that any team has ever had to go for no gain. And now it's 3rd and 9, but 2 changes in the offseason probably feels like a real probably felt like a real helter-skelter offseason after they had literally 0. They brought everybody back from their championship team in season 15 back to the roster in season 16. You hardly ever see that. Almost every team at least has to make 1 change, 1 draft pick or whatever. 3rd and 9 for Q. This way, it's caught right at the out-of-bounds line by Gabriel Manning. How did he stay in on that play?
Pure unbridled skill here, Tim. And getting back to the lack of turnover from Baltimore, I believe we were talking about this a couple weeks ago with Arizona, who have Baltimore's going to challenge that. Definitely
Not a surprise.
yeah, not a surprise at all. But while this challenge is going off, we mentioned this, I believe, with Arizona a couple weeks ago. But Baltimore, definitely a team that likes to keep the players, that they draft, that they bring on. Jack Wigmore, 3 seasons, 3 with Baltimore. T-Roy Gaines, 7 seasons in the league, all with Baltimore. Irvin, Chima, and Graham, 4, 4, and 6, all with Baltimore. Delaney Holder has been with Baltimore for 7 seasons. Tarkington, 7 seasons. Giovanni Bolt, 7 seasons. So Baltimore is another one of those teams that likes to keep their core and likes to, wants to make sure that their team is happy, right?
Absolutely. And it seems as if that strategy has worked because these guys appear to love playing here. I'm sure they've all fielded offers from other teams. There's a lot of great players here, but almost all of them have stayed. Tulsa wins the challenge from Baltimore, so the Vultures lose a timeout right from midfield. Sanzo Robinson gets the carry, and there's your injury update for Kevin Grayson. He has suffered a broken kneecap on that special teams play, so he is out for the day. And that means we will see a lot more of Brandon Williams as the number 2 tight end behind Jason France moving forward. The only change for this Baltimore defense in the offseason, Keenan Samuels comes in to replace Nolan Pierce, who has played for Baltimore for the last 2 years, and no dice that time for Sanzo. Wrenched down by Alvin Mack, another one of the now veteran backers for Baltimore.
Yeah, unfortunate that Sanzo couldn't replicate the absolute trucking he gave one of Baltimore's defenders on the run prior. A big 3rd down here, though, for Tulsa. They desperately need to convert here in order to keep this drive going.
Mack led the team with 31 tackles through the first 3 weeks. Tulsa will spread it out wide on 3rd and 7. Q under pressure. Down he goes. What a time for Baltimore's first sack of the game. One of the best sack teams in the SFL arrives, and there is the league leader. Sir Ron Yates IV now has his 6.5 total sacks this season.
Yeah, that's just the 6th sack that Tulsa has taken here in the first 4 weeks of action. And a pretty big one for this offensive line of Tulsa to give up, as Baltimore's going to get some pretty decent field position out of this, a lot more than they would have gotten without the sack.
Yeah, one of the best teams at preventing sacks. Tulsa, they allowed only 5, like you said, through 3 weeks. So did Baltimore. Though those 15 sacks that Baltimore had, half of them came in week 1 against Sully Richardson and the LA Lycans. And Sully is a quarterback that knows a thing or two about taking a ton of sacks, has for most of his career. So they got 8 sacks against Sully in week 1. Only 1 sack last week against Christian Brown of St. Louis, a game that Baltimore also won, but they also picked Christian Brown off 6 times, including 5 from Giovanni Bull. That is a Baltimore Vultures record. 1st and 10. Wigmore will throw this way, not even close. Looking for Lloyd Graham. He was out of bounds. 5 picks in a game for Baltimore franchise record, breaking the previous record held by Giovanni Bolts, who had 3. So he is just the absolute dynamo for this Vulture defense and had possibly the best game of his career last week.
Yeah, really, really good free safety, really good return man. It's just been impressive so far.
Oh, no surprise that they are the Baltimore Vultures more times than not. Here goes Jimmy Hazard, running room for Jimmy Hazard, left seam. Ooh, he nearly broke that one off. Jorge Torres stopped that from being an even bigger gain. And inside of a minute to go in the third, a big run for the Duke.
And those are the types of runs that I used to see Jimmy Hazard run every single week down in the minors. And when he's able to get out into open space like that, he is incredibly hard to take down. I'm sure, Miles Gibson, Philadelphia Collins, Daniel Wright, the rookies on this Tulsa defense can definitely attest to how hard Jimmy Hazard was to take down in the minors.
And they needed a sophomore, Jorge Torres, to finally stop him. 30 seconds left. Wigmore is tackled again. Another sack for Tulsa. Wigmore has not had it easy today. He still had his moments, but another stop in the backfield. Berto Demora has 2.
Yeah, Berto Demora getting his 2nd sack of the game. And it puts Baltimore in a bit of a tight situation here. 2nd and a mile.
He only had 1 sack over his first 3. 2nd and a mile, like you said, and Baltimore makes all of it almost back up on just 1 play. A gain of 15 for Ivory Irvin, and that makes this 3rd down a whole lot easier to tackle. Baltimore on top by 14. We're done with 3 from Vultures Field. This is the SFL, presented by APM Music, live on Twitch. One more quarter to play from Vultures Field, where Baltimore's trying to stay unbeaten on the season. They face a 3rd and 2. Jack Wigmore drops back under pressure, throws it this way, it's caught. Another 1st down for Lloyd Graham Jr. Looked like he stepped out of bounds earlier. He's trying to move up the field. He gets all the way out to the Tulsa 30. No problem on 3rd that time for Baltimore.
Excuse me? He's definitely out of bounds. He's definitely, he 100% stepped out of bounds. Show me the red flag, Tulsa. Where is it?
I'm not sure who he's trying to fool. There you go. Deion Hawkins saw exactly what you did, Aaron Alexander. Well done. We've seen a couple of challenges already in this game, and we'll see if our 62 can get this one right.
Yeah, he was out by a country mile there on that run. Still gets the 1st down. Don't get me wrong, but he's out right there.
Look, I mean, we rag on R62 all the time in the SFL. It's just one of the, old standbys that we have, but let's be nice to this inanimate object. He's had a good game so far. Every decision has been right, and this one is right as well.
Yep, definitely. I wouldn't say every decision is right. Some of these ball spots
You're right. You were
uh,
right.
definitely leave a lot to be desired.
Better completion percentage than normal, I guess. He'll take that one. Better completion percentage than, I don't know, Javier Vasquez has in some games, I guess. But it's still a first down, like you say, but they'll take an extra 10 yards off the board from the 40. Wigmore hit. Oh, he stays alive somehow, and now he will step up and try to run and somehow turns that into a gain of 1. Chris Andrews was just robbed of a TFL, but it will still be a gain of only 1.
Yeah, and I believe that was Berto Demora trying to dive into that sack. Unfortunately, Wigmore able to shake it off and pick up a yard somehow.
Yeah, somehow is right. Berto he's been a backfield threat in his career. He's got better than 33 sacks. Lifetime, but only 1 before today. Wigmore floats it up. It's caught again. Another leaping catch, this time by Ivory Irvin. The Vultures inside the 25.
Did he just catch that ball with his bicep? Because it certainly looks like he just caught that ball with his bicep.
Talk about flexing on him.
Yeah,
Oh,
not quite, but definitely a very flashy catch there from Ivory Irvin with the one-handed grab.
so much for being just a possession receiver. That was a wide receiver 1 type catch from Ivory Irvin. All of these guys have been great so far in this game. And so, of course, has Wigmore. On the ground they'll go. Jimmy Hazard trying to get something going. He picks up just 3. It's not really been a big flashy game for him. We haven't seen a lot of T-Roy Gaines since the first quarter at all, Aaron, but everybody else really. The passing offense here for Baltimore, which has been just outstanding through 3 weeks. They've been great once again.
Yeah, and I mean realistically, that's why we really haven't been seeing a lot from either T. Roy or Jimmy Hazard. This passing attack from Baltimore has just been too good this game to really go away from it.
And why would you? Absolutely, when you've been this good. Pump fake for Wigmore on 2nd and 7, top of the screen. Caught again by Mac Chima. Dances around, and he's into the end zone. They'll call it a touchdown. Mac Chima has his 2nd. He's over 120 receiving yards, and Baltimore may have put this game out of reach.
Yeah, just another incredible pass from Jack Wigmore to Mac Chima there, and Baltimore is starting to run away with this game, up by 3 scores. Again, pretty much back to where we started at the beginning of this half.
I don't know how he stayed in bounds. I thought for sure they were going to be able to push him out. Julian Valier was the last man there for the Tulsa defense, but somehow Mac Chima, with that great speed, able to step around the outside line, somehow find his way in for pay dirt. Another PAT for Tarkington. It's good once again. That ruins the narrative a little bit, Aaron, because that is now 5 passing touchdowns for Wigmore. Chima has his 2nd. Poor Lloyd Graham Jr. is probably thinking, hey, when do I get a chance?
Yeah, agreed. An interesting note from the stat truck here. There's only been 1 punt so far this half.
Wow, that is pretty crazy because, I mean, like we said, Tulsa started their first possession of this second half with a great drive. That got it to within 7. Then Baltimore immediately answered with their own touchdown scoring drive, made it a 14-point game. The same deficit that it was at halftime for Tulsa. Neither team was able to extend the lead any further, and now Baltimore has a 21-point lead early on here in the 4th. It's now or never, you feel, for JQ and company.
Absolutely. This Tulsa offense needs to get something going, and they need to get something going fast. There's only less than 10 minutes left here in the game. They're down by 3 touchdowns. You need to start being aggressive with your passes.
After 2 seasons in the minors, JQ got his name called finally last year. He will give it off to Sanzo Robinson. The Tulsa native barrels through the defense, and the new Baltimore linebacker, Keenan Samuels, stops him, but not before. Sanzo picks up 12.
That's a good start if you're Tulsa. I don't necessarily agree with running the ball when you're down like this, especially since it's going to start eating time off of the clock. But if you want to talk about a good start to a drive, you definitely want something like that out of your running back.
It was a slow start this game for Sanzo, but he's already had a better game this week than he did last week. Unofficially today, 15 carries, 62 yards. Last week, 14 for 54. With 12 that time. Q will throw this way, caught at the top of the screen. Another short game of about 7 for Gabriel Manning. They have lived through that type of play all game and all season. Q, the number 5 overall pick last season out of Tacoma, became the new franchise quarterback for Tulsa after Deacon Nickens was the gunslinger here for a half dozen seasons. He joins the Tulsa native and longtime Desperado tailback Sanzo Robinson and this wide receiver trio, which has been consistent now for 3 straight seasons. 2nd and 3. Q will throw it out to Sanzo Robinson. They use him like this occasionally, Aaron, and he's able to get the first down there. Stack and Paper makes the stop.
Yeah, I was about to fight R62 if Sanzo Robinson didn't get that first down. Another one of those spots definitely could have been called wrong. R62 definitely gets it right here, though. Tulsa converting another first down here in the 4th.
They just need to keep moving the ball, and they don't have a whole lot of time left, down by 21. 7.5 left in regulation. Q over the middle and a leaping catch. Great one-armed catch. Corey Jones doing his best Ivory Irvin impression in a pickup of 9.
Yeah, and that's another really good pass for JQ. Definitely what they need to continue to do consistently in order to try and claw their way back into this game.
Baltimore has only allowed 1 rushing touchdown so far this season, none today. Tulsa's going to need to pass, you would think. They will try to run it with Sanzo Robinson. This time they give him the first down. Frank Smith on the stop. We haven't said his name very often in this game, Aaron. Somehow he was not able to keep Sanzo from getting those last yard plus.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. That's one of those spots I don't 100% agree with. But at this time, it actually works in Tulsa's favor.
I guess that was a makeup call from one of those earlier ones. Sanzo has reasons to be aggrieved in this game. 6.5 left. They will stretch it to Robinson. What a great tackle. He sheds through the block of the fullback, and Keenan Samuels, who had 2 TFLs in his first 3 games with Baltimore, a big stop on that play.
Yeah, definitely think that Sanzo should have gone inside the fullback there instead of trying to bounce it to the outside. Granted, there was probably more room to run on the outside, but the fullback, McMichael's not able to hold that block there. But they're able to make up for the yardage with that pass.
Yeah, speaking of outside, that is Manning once again, top of the screen. Another gain of about 6 or 7 through the air. See, that is 9th catch. He's got one of the touchdowns for Tulsa. Keenan Samuels, the first-round pick last season for the Jacksonville Kings, spent his rookie year there. Now coming over here to Baltimore again, one of just 2 changes that the Vultures made in the offseason. The other one, Jay Hayden, the tight end, leaving to join Queen City, where he is off to a really strong start for another 3-0 team. Q will throw on 2nd and 7, and is picked off once again. Second takeaway of this game for Baltimore. And once again, it's Giovanni Bolts, fresh off of a 5-interception game. That puts the ball right back into Baltimore's hands.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Tulsa. I definitely think that it was a good pass. I just think it was thrown to the wrong area. There were 2 Baltimore shirts there as opposed to the one for Tulsa, and Giovanni Bolt just able to get a good read on the ball and pick it off.
57 career interceptions for Giovanni Bolts. Now 4th all-time in SFL history. He's got 6 now over the last 2 weeks. Wigmore coming out to throw, bullets it, and that is caught. That's kind of like what Q was trying to do on that last play. That time, Wigmore uncorks a rope, and Daly Holder has a first down.
Yeah, and that interception from Giovanni Bolt and the ensuing first down here from Baltimore may have just been the death sentence for Tulsa as far as this game is concerned.
Time is running out for Tulsa. There's no question about it. Down by 3 scores, and now with the Vultures across midfield. We mentioned this defense for Tulsa might have been built to stop the pass. They have not been able to do so here. Hazard is wide open out of the flat, spinning around, picking up 12. Another great gain through the sky for Hazard. You see him now. Wigmore over 400 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. A near flawless offensive game for Wigmore.
Yeah, good for a approximate QBR of 141.9 this game. Tulsa is in desperate need of a turnover at this point. Not even just a third down stop, a proper turnover.
Yeah, they need something quick. No question now, less than 5 minutes left in regulation. Wigmore will throw once again. They haven't changed their philosophy. Irvin makes the catch, pickup of 6. And like we said, The auxiliary numbers for JQ so far this season have not been very good, albeit through 3 weeks, but we're already a quarter of the way through the season at this point, and after today, we will be a third of the way through the regular season. Wigmore's auxiliary numbers, all of his numbers really, look great, and after today, they will only look better. First in completions, third in attempts, second in yards, tied for first in touchdowns, tied for third in yards per attempt, third best quarterback rating. That will all go up after another gem of a performance for the third-year man from Arlington, Virginia. Baltimore now will take its time. Play clock under 5. Wigmore over the middle, another catch for Irvin, and another Baltimore first down to the 23.
Yeah, and Baltimore here is an absolutely zero rush to get any, get any plays off. Uh, get out of the huddle even. This game is well and truly in Baltimore's hands at this point, unless Tulsa can get something. They need a miracle and then some. Realistically, at this point,
It's amazing what Jack Wigmore has been able to do for a guy that joined the league mid-season in season 15. He has not skipped a beat, taking over for one of the best QBs in league history, Mike Dazzo. From the 23, here goes Hazard. He picks up only about one. Nice tackle from behind by Philadelphia Collins, the rookie backer. This was something we were talking about, Aaron, because this Baltimore team had no change in the offseason from season 15 to 16, hardly any change in the offseason from season 16 to season 17, not a lot of change from season 14 to season 15. Of course, season 15 was when they won the SFL title, but during season 15. And this is just what was stunning to me as a relative newcomer to the SFL at that point. Baltimore had so many changes to their roster during that season, and they were still able to shake all of that off and win the title, the first in franchise history, despite all of that turnover. That was so impressive. Here's Wigmore trying to feather it into DeAndre Mitchell, one of the tight ends. No dice there. And of course, one of the biggest moves was bringing in Jack Wigmore halfway through the season. Mike Dazzo and his brother, longtime Baltimore linebacker Joe Dazzo, both retire mid-season, and so they need replacements in the middle of a campaign. So enter Jack Wigmore, enter Frank Smith. Those two guys have both been excellent since they've joined Baltimore, and it looks like the backups are in. Wigmore's day is done. Adam Jefferson will take the Vultures the rest of the way. He will throw over the middle, and a diving catch is made by Gus Woods. He does his best Ivory Irvin impression, and a first down for the Vultures.
and they put the backups in, and they still haven't missed a beat on this offense. It's kind of scary, I'll be honest with you, Tim.
No kidding. Good luck, rest of the league. If the offense, the backups are able to do this against a lot of the Tulsa secondary or first stringers, I should say. And how many times have we seen that in the SFL? They bring the backups in the middle of a drive, because Wigmore definitely had that earlier pass to Ivory Irvin. They throw with different hands. It's not like you can confuse them. They won't have to snap it actually before the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, they're just gonna let it go.
Oh, they will snap it. I'm as surprised as you. Here's T-Roy Gaines with his first carry since the first half, and he picks up a couple. We have officially hit the 2-minute warning from Vultures Field. Baltimore on top by 21. This is the SFL presented by APM Music, live on Twitch. Happy to have you with us here from Baltimore alongside Aaron Alexander. I'm Tim Hackett. Thanks for joining us here from Baltimore. 2 minutes left in regulation. Split backs, the give to T-Roy Gaines. He runs into the traffic once again. And a great one-on-one tackle made by Carson Miller. Tulsa will take a timeout. You mentioned it, Aaron. What a big pickup Carson Miller has been. Former minor league standout middle linebacker, now an outside backer here in the pros. He's been really good.
Yeah, currently sits 25th in the league so far this season in total tackles. He currently sitting at 5 total this game. Just really good, a really good pickup overall. He's been the key to this linebacking course. T-Roy Gaines gets a rushing touchdown. Something I wish I had.
No, that shows you what a good fullback can do, I guess. T-Roy Gaines finally strikes his second rushing touchdown of the season. That's going to put this game to bed if it wasn't already fast asleep. And a great game again for Baltimore. That's their first rushing touchdown of this game. This game has had everything.
Yep. And the veteran T-Roy Gaines is the one that gets the call as Jimmy Hazard's getting probably some much needed rest over on the bench.
How nice is that? That after Damon Morehouse helped carry the team last week, after Jimmy Hazard went down with his unfortunate injury, and thank goodness he didn't have any repercussions of that here a week later. You can go to T. Roy Gaines. You don't even have to worry about Morehouse in enemy territory, deep within striking distance like that. You just give it to T. Roy a couple of times, and it's yet another TD for T. Roy, who really was a standout tailback. He's top 15 all time in carries, yards, touchdowns, and receptions, not just among running backs, but among all players. So, really speaking to his versatility, he's been used fairly often in both facets of this season, and he's got himself a touchdown.
Yeah, a career revitalizer is this move to fullback for T. Roy Gaines.
This Tulsa defense, I mean, they've got a lot of work to do, no question, but allowing 45 points to Baltimore is really nothing to hang your heads over. Remember, they came in with 127 total points scored, an average of 42 and a third per game. Both of those were by far the best in the league, though nearly half of those points came in week one against LA. This Tulsa defense has a lot of work to do, but they had a lot of work to do in the offseason. They had to completely revamp their linebacking core. All three guys that started games for them last year, they're all gone, including a pair of longtime league veterans. JQ is still in. He spikes it into the turf as he is sent flying. A great tackle almost made by Al Walker.
Yeah, and I definitely, if you're Tulsa in this defense, I definitely don't think you can necessarily hang your head at this loss. Like, yeah, of course, it's a loss. It sucks, but considering the team they're up against,
Right.
they played incredibly well this game.
They were within 7 early on in the third quarter, but since then, it has been all Baltimore. Tulsa has not really been able to come close lately. Q tries to fire it in. What an interception. Somehow Marvin Himes is able to rip that away from the receiver, Roderick Davis. Third takeaway by this Baltimore defense. And this great takeaway team strikes yet again.
And that's definitely the end of the game here with that interception. Unfortunate, that it comes so late here in the fourth. I definitely feel for JQ, the second year man. If you're Tulsa, I don't think you can necessarily call this a bad game. I think Baltimore's just that good of a team.
So what do you think? Because I was looking at these first three results for Baltimore, and yeah, obviously they're all wins, and most of them were pretty impressive. Two of them against playoff teams from a year ago in Los Angeles and St. Louis, and their point differential is the best in the league. Their turnover differential is the best in the league through 3 weeks, and obviously both of those are going to go up. Their +3 turnover differential, plus 28 point differential in this game, which is insane. This is the big prove it game to you for Baltimore. Are they for real?
I definitely, Tulsa has been one of those teams that a lot of people don't typically talk about, as a team that necessarily poses a threat. But in the past, that's sometimes proven to their detriment, right?
Sure.
This Tulsa team, they have shown signs that they can be a really really good team, maybe just on the edge of playoffs. But Baltimore coming in, having a game like this against what could have been a really tough opponent, I definitely think speak volumes as to the game planning of TP and TJ, or T Pat and TJ, excuse me. And as well as just the caliber of player that this Baltimore offense has to work with.
Tulsa was so close a year ago, Aaron. I mean, to your point exactly, they were very much an under the radar team. I don't think a team that anybody really was cognizant of how close they were, but they were 6-5 going into Week 12 last year, playing at home against St. Louis. If they won that game, they were in the playoffs. But the Guardians won it. That sent Tulsa to 6-6 and left the Desperados on the outside of the playoff picture, while St. Louis was able to make it in. Fast forward 3.5 months later, same team, same location, new season. Tulsa at home welcomes in St. Louis in Week 1 of season 17, and it's a loss by almost the same counts. I mean, it's crazy. In Week 12 of last season, St. Louis beats Tulsa 27-19. That's an 8-point spread. In Week 1 of this season, season 17, St. Louis beats Tulsa 24-17. That's a 7-point spread. So the Desperados were that close both times. They were not able to win last season and sneak into the playoffs, and now they're going to be 1-3 with a big hill to climb, but in a division that has not looked very strong so far here in season 17. Baltimore doesn't have to snap it again, but the Vultures, playing in perhaps the best division in the SFL, they keep pace atop the league table. 5 teams entered week 4 unbeaten. Baltimore survives this test from Tulsa. The Vultures win it going away. The final score, Baltimore 45, Tulsa 17.
Yeah, and looking back historically, the one game that these two teams have played previously, pretty similar scoreline. Baltimore playing at home. Baltimore won that game 38-18. Tulsa comes back 3 seasons later, and it's a pretty similar scoreline as Baltimore approaching 40 wins at home.
That's insane, against 6 losses. I mean, that's the big takeaway for me. 39-6 all time at home. And yes, historically in the SFL, home teams have better success than road teams. That's kind of true across all sports. But Baltimore, they have a winning record on the road, first and foremost. Not a lot of other teams can say that. And they are now better than 86% at home all time, with yet another dominating win here at Vultures Field. And it's important, Aaron, because this division looks really good. This was one of my notes for this game. Last year, it was really a walkover for Baltimore. They were clearly the best team in the division, the reigning champs. They were 8-4, 4-0 in the division, really did not have a whole lot of problems. But every team, through 3 weeks, yes, but every team in this division looks good so far. The 4 teams, there are 2 losses between them through 3 weeks, and Baltimore keeps pace right at the top of the table.
Yeah, Quinn City has been probably one of the biggest surprises of the season in this division. They're sitting at 3-0. DC, in a complete turnaround from season 16, sits now at 2-1. London, with their new pickups, they're sitting at 2-1. This North Division, definitely one of, if not the absolute toughest division to play in as it stands currently. I think the next closest one after that, probably the Tex-Mex division, where both Houston and Mexico City sit at 3-0.
And in one of the best divisions in the league, Baltimore gets a signature win to stay right at the top of the table. No surprise, Jack Wigmore with another flawless performance. He's your player of the game. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. 4 more games coming your way later this afternoon. For Dwayne Schindler and Justin Reeside, Cameron Irvine and Mike St. Green, and my partner Aaron Alexander, I've been Tim Hackett. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. So long.